new episodes of The View when she tries to pull the race card.
Yes.
And then she's like, America is racist. And then they're like, yeah, they might be racist, but they're not like slave owner racist. like somebody that we...
That's so true.
Yeah.
One thing, and I would have even actually not give her any is she said, well, like, I guess that's just what like they did back then.
Yeah.
She should have followed that up with saying something along the lines of, and I understand that that's a departure from the way I've talked about this.
Before the punchline landed like a lightning strike, sharp, accurate, and inevitable laughter erupted from the room. However, Gutfeld wasn't just cracking jokes for laughs. Without hesitation, he pointed out what he saw as blatant hypocrisy. Sunny has long advocated for accountability, particularly regarding historical injustices. She has been vocal about how moral responsibility is influenced by ancestry and has argued that people should acknowledge and address the past. But when the discussion turned to her own ancestry, the tone shifted. Instead of addressing the matter directly, she dismissed it as just another historical detail. Gutfeld wasn't going to overlook that. He accurately highlighted how identity-based discussions can become complicated when personal narratives clash with inconvenient truths. Criticizing others is easy, but what happens when the same standards are applied to oneself? Sunny had spent years holding others accountable for their lineage, until the focus turned to her. Then, suddenly, the approach changed. While Gutfeld's response was sharp and well-calculated, it was also intense. Beyond exposing the contradiction, he emphasized the importance of self-awareness when discussing significant topics such as race and history.
She is so wrapped up in identity, and she had no idea who she was.
Well, now we understand why she always makes Whoopi get the coffee.
Exactly, because if she is shaming descendants of this, will she continue to do that when she is now one of them?
He delivered his point in a straightforward manner. If you're going to use ancestry as a metric for judging others, you should be prepared to hold yourself to the same moral standards. This is where the irony became apparent. The very institution that Sunny strongly opposed now placed her in a difficult position, despite her long-standing criticism of historical injustices. However, instead of pausing to reflect, acknowledge, or address the issue, she avoided it entirely, almost as if discussing it was unnecessary. That response? It didn't sit well with many people. Gutfeld's remarks resonated with those who have grown frustrated with what they see as selective outrage in moral debates. It was a reminder of what happens when self-righteousness meets inconvenient truths, and in Gutfeld's view, Sunny's credibility took a hit at that moment. For Gutfeld, this wasn't just about Sunny, it was an example of how performative outrage can sometimes overshadow personal accountability. And once the internet caught on, the reaction was swift. Social media platforms were flooded with memes, jokes, and opinions at rapid speed. One viral post captured the irony perfectly. Restitution? Let me write myself that check right away. Twitter and TikTok became battlegrounds for sarcasm and debate. While some defended Sunny, arguing that individuals shouldn't be held accountable for their ancestors' actions, many pointed out what they saw as an inconsistency. Sunny's stance has long emphasized holding individuals accountable for their family's past, even if they had no direct involvement. But when the focus shifted to her own history, she dismissed it as just another fact of life.
In her defense, everyone has ancestors that did unspeakably horrible things. It's just that not everyone's ancestors have records tied to their DNA about it. Worried for Sunny Hostin's progeny in the future that do a DNA test and find out that they were related to a cast member of The View. And they're like, oh, it all makes so much sense now. Why I'm so stupid and fat.
That response did not sit well with many, sparking widespread debate. Should prominent figures like Sunny be held to the same moral standards they expect from others? Critics argued that her response lacked the reflection and growth she had often demanded from others. The perceived inconsistency was too evident to ignore, and discussions about it continued for weeks. However, the impact extended beyond online discourse. It created tension on air. The show, known for its intense debates and strong opinions, suddenly fell into an awkward silence after the revelation about Sunny's ancestry surfaced. The energy at the table disappeared in an instant. Whoopi Goldberg, usually quick with a response, looked visibly surprised. For once, even she seemed unsure of what to say. Sunny, known for her passionate arguments, had little to add. The irony of the situation was undeniable. In one of those rare television moments, silence spoke louder than words. Meanwhile, on Greg Gutfeld's panel, the atmosphere was entirely different. His fellow hosts wasted no time, delivering light-hearted yet pointed remarks that had everyone at the table laughing. One panelist even joked that Sunny should address the situation in her next segment. But beyond the humor, they used the moment to highlight what they saw as contradictions in her stance. It wasn't just about making jokes. It was about calling out what they viewed as a flaw in her moral positioning. Not everyone, however, treated the situation as a punchline. Rosie O'Donnell offered a more measured perspective, cutting through the noise. She emphasized a crucial point. People should be judged by their own actions, not by those of their ancestors. Still, she didn't dismiss the larger conversation.
Yes, there's nothing worse than to find out you're a white woman.
She's so disappointed.
It's really disappointing.
Her mother was white.
Oh my
The
God.
shame.
Oh my God.
History, and finds out that she's, this is fantastic. She is descended from slaveholders. She's descended from slaveholders, and she's been apparently getting a lot of mail about her call for reparations because it turns out she's going to be paying them and not actually receiving.
Rosie underscored how identity politics can sometimes oversimplify history by reducing complex issues to broad generalizations. She pointed out that the revelation about Sunny's ancestry was a clear example of the risks of rigid narratives, because when the roles are reversed, contradictions become impossible to ignore. The reactions from Sunny's supporters and critics were noticeably different. For some, this was an opportunity to have a much-needed conversation about personal accountability. Others saw it as yet another instance of a vocal advocate of identity politics being confronted with their own contradictions. Either way, it was clear that Sunny's response did not sit well with many. Her critics found it even more frustrating because she had a unique opportunity. This could have been a moment of realization, a sincere attempt to reflect on her own statements and acknowledge the complexities of her family's past. Instead of brushing it off as just a fact of life, she could have used this experience to foster a deeper discussion about how history shapes us, how we confront difficult truths, and why accountability should apply equally to everyone. For someone who has spent their career advocating for accountability, her casual dismissal was significant. This wasn't just a personal controversy. Credibility was at stake. If she had embraced the irony, acknowledged the challenges of reconciling her family's history, and used the moment to encourage open dialogue, she could have reshaped the entire narrative. Instead, by avoiding deeper reflection, she amplified the controversy rather than allowing it to pass. And in doing so, she became the subject of discussion, rather than history itself.
The View hosts, among the dumbest people on television.
Sunny's dumb. Certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out. It's like if you had an idea for a premise and it was totally baked and half baked and you went on stage with it. It's nothing.
Just
there.
go for it. Yeah.
Sunny's response shifted the entire conversation. The focus moved away from the complexities of history and onto accusations of hypocrisy. What could have been an insightful discussion about personal accountability instead turned into another heated debate over injustice. Sunny's situation serves as a clear example of how moral arguments can lose strength when uncomfortable truths emerge. Despite years of urging others to confront their history, the standards seemed to change when it came to her own past. And that raised an important question. If you expect others to be accountable, shouldn't you hold yourself to the same standard? If Sunny believed the issue would quickly fade, the internet had other plans. Greg Gutfeld's sharp remarks, widely shared memes, and ongoing social media reactions ensured that this moment would not be forgotten anytime soon. Sunny now faces a pivotal moment. Will she ignore the criticism and risk letting the controversy shape her public image? Or will she address it directly and attempt to reshape the narrative? Either way, the timing couldn't be worse, especially since this isn't the only challenge she's currently facing. Sunny Hostin has made headlines many times, but not just for her outspoken views. This time, it's not about her comments, it's about her husband.
That has a policy. I mean, I'm not saying that Joe Rogan should be removed from Spotify. He's got 11 million listeners. He's got a $100 million, contract as of 2020. But I do think as the podcast platform, you have to have some sort of guidelines. How about a disclaimer on his podcast that says, this is misinformation? How about removing some of the podcasts that disseminate this misinformation?
They have.
And that's
Dr. Emmanuel Holston. The headlines are troubling, to put it mildly. The medical field is currently being shaken by a legal battle involving Dr. Holston, an orthopedic surgeon and the head of Holston Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. And this isn't just a minor lawsuit. This is a high-stakes case. The allegations, insurance fraud, illegal kickbacks, and a massive RICO case involving 180 defendants. This isn't just another legal issue. It's a controversy that could have major consequences for the industry. The accusations are serious, and the case is explosive. But this is only the beginning. While Sunny is facing public scrutiny over her own controversies, her husband is dealing with an even bigger legal storm. If she thought public criticism was tough before, this situation takes it to another level. Let's take a closer look. The Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations, RICO, Act was originally designed to tackle organized crime. Think The Godfather, and was meant for crime syndicates and major criminal enterprises. However, this case doesn't involve underground operations or secret backroom deals. Instead, it focuses on doctors, surgeons, and other medical professionals caught in a major legal battle. At the center of it all is Dr. Emmanuel Holston. The lawsuit accuses him and several other medical professionals of orchestrating a fraudulent scheme that exploited the healthcare system for massive profits. The allegations: receiving improper payments for unnecessary treatments. Even more shocking, some procedures were allegedly performed on patients who were unaware they weren't medically necessary. The cost? Billed directly to unsuspecting insurance companies.
Lawsuit obtained by Page 6. The orthopedic surgeon was one of 200 defendants named in one of the biggest racketeer influence and corrupt organization cases ever filed in New York. Emmanuel was accused of federal insurance fraud and, quote, getting kickbacks by performing surgery and billing a company that insured taxi companies.
Millions of dollars were allegedly invested in a system that, according to the lawsuit, served primarily as a financial scheme benefiting dishonest medical professionals. Money moved through the system much like a rigged casino game. Except this time, the stakes weren't poker chips. People's health was on the line. And that's only the beginning. The lawsuit specifically accuses Dr. Holston of accepting financial kickbacks in exchange for promoting and performing arthroscopic procedures, minimally invasive surgeries often used to treat knee or shoulder joint issues. While these procedures may seem routine, the lawsuit alleges that many were completely unnecessary. This raises a disturbing question. Were these patients truly in need of medical care, or were they unknowingly caught in a scheme to defraud the healthcare system of millions? Imagine placing your trust in a doctor, believing they have your best interests at heart, only to later learn that medical decisions were driven by financial incentives rather than patient well-being. Such a betrayal doesn't just cause harm. It erodes the very foundation of the doctor-patient relationship. This is exactly what Attic, American Transit Insurance Company, and other plaintiffs are alleging in their complaint. They claim millions of dollars were fraudulently taken from them and that they were forced to cover surgeries that either never happened or were entirely unnecessary. However, while these allegations paint a troubling picture of a flawed healthcare system, it's important to acknowledge that insurance companies are not necessarily the heroes of this story. Attorney Daniel Thwaites, representing Dr. Holston, strongly refuted the claims, calling the lawsuit baseless. His legal team has made it clear that they will fight the accusations. Attic itself has faced scrutiny in the past, with allegations of underpaying doctors, denying legitimate claims, and exploiting legal loopholes to avoid payouts. This lawsuit is shaping up to be more than just an expose of alleged corruption in the medical field. It's a high-stakes battle between two powerful entities, each determined to position itself as the real victim.
Even though I
You
can't
would not sing?
No, I would not. I would not normalize him. And she says, I love our country. How do you love your country and support and normalize somebody who was a convicted felon who really wants to destroy the country, in my opinion? I don't understand how you say you love your country at the same time as you normalize this convicted felon, which I can see now every day.
A lot of my family voted for Trump. They love the country and vote for him. I think that people make these decisions for a lot of reasons.
Okay, fine. And I would not be the person to say don't do it, because I believe in free speech and everything about it. I personally would not do it. No one's asked me, but that's another story.
I would love for you to do a roast at the Trump inauguration.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no one else had any.
This legal battle revolves around an individual attempting to recover financial losses by using doctors as scapegoats. In a strategic courtroom maneuver, the accuser shifted the narrative, portraying the insurance company as the real villain in this unfolding legal drama. The claim suggests that, after years of questionable practices, insurance corporations are now trying to shift blame onto medical professionals as they face financial setbacks. Joe Rogan joined the discussion on his show, addressing the contradictions in the case. He pointed out that Sunny Hostin, who has often criticized public figures and presented herself as an authority on medical ethics, now faces scrutiny over the credibility of the profession she has defended. The irony was not lost on many. While Sunny has been vocal about accountability for others, some questioned whether she had ignored potential concerns regarding her husband's business dealings. Rogan's blunt critique quickly gained traction on social media, sparking widespread debate. Some questioned whether Sunny had been fully transparent, while others defended her, arguing that personal relationships should not define public credibility. This controversy extended beyond the lawsuit itself, fueling discussions about trust in public figures and their role in shaping narratives. Meanwhile, another controversy emerged when The View criticized country music star Carrie Underwood. The backlash stemmed from her decision to perform at the presidential inauguration, an honor for any artist. However, critics accused her of supporting a divisive figure, leading to calls for boycotts and social media backlash. Carrie Underwood, known for her talent and grace, has built her career without relying on controversy or scandals. She accepted the invitation with gratitude, seeing it as an opportunity to bring people together through music. However, some critics claimed that her participation signaled political endorsement. The backlash included accusations of her normalizing a political figure they opposed, with social media erupting in heated debates. Despite the controversy, Carrie remained steadfast. She did not engage in the negativity or attempt to defend her decision aggressively. Instead, she continued to focus on her music, proving that talent and integrity can withstand public scrutiny. Her career remained strong, with chart-topping albums, sold-out concerts, and unwavering support from fans. John Rich, a fellow country artist, voiced his support for Carrie, questioning why she was facing backlash while others in the industry remained silent, possibly out of fear of losing endorsements or industry support. Some TV personalities criticized Carrie harshly, equating her performance with endorsing a controversial political figure. However, as public discussions unfolded, it became clear that the outrage was largely fueled by polarized opinions rather than concrete wrongdoing. In the end, Carrie Underwood's story highlights the complexities of public perception and the often fleeting nature of cancel culture. While critics attempted to tarnish her reputation, her dedication to her craft and her unwavering stance only strengthened her connection with fans. As history has shown, authenticity and resilience often outlast momentary controversies. Was this just another example of cancel culture going too far? Or was the backlash against Carrie justified? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another discussion like this. See you in the next one.